It's 27 and a half minutes past 3. You're listening to the second hour of the Lifestyle Show on TRE Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain. Now, Graham Dolby is the founder of the London Swing Orchestra and is here to tell us about his book, which is called Can't Hear Yourself Think, Autobiography of a Serial Name Dropper. Great to have you on the show, Graham.
Good afternoon, Selena.
Now, before we go any further, it's a great title, but why the title?
Well, the book opens inside the Waterloo Chamber at Windsor Castle, and it was an auspicious day because it was a party to celebrate the 100th birthday of the Queen Mother. And also the birthdays, I think it was the 60th birthday of Princess Margaret, the 50th birthday of Princess Anne, and the 40th birthday of Prince Andrew. So they were all there, all the royals from around the world. I mean, everybody that had a title and many that didn't were there. And I was running this swing band, as you mentioned, the London Swing Orchestra, and we were playing like an hour's set for dancing, and the Queen was dancing with somebody, and Prince Philip was dancing with a very attractive brunette. And I think he was trying to tell her a joke or something because we were playing a little bit too loudly. And he walked up to the stage, and he's about 6'4" or 6'5", I should think, and I'm 5'7". So we were about nose to nose because I was standing on the stage. And he just came right in my face and said, "Can't hear yourself think in here."
Oh, my goodness.
Cracking title for a book.
A brilliant title for a book. Well done you. Now, going back then to where it all started, I know you were educated at Dover College, but you spent many of your early years in Africa and Singapore.
Yes, well, I was carted off to Nigeria at a very young age, and I think I was probably only about 6 months old, and we were living in a house about 200 miles away from anything that you might call civilization. I mean, there was just dirt tracks there and roads, and after a few months, I started to turn a very strange shade of blue, and my father sort of drove me on the back of a Land Rover all the way to a town called Ibadan, and there he met a chap in a hotel. He put me into the hospital, and the doctors shook their heads. They didn't really, it was beyond their medical learning, and these were sort of British Army doctors. But at the hotel, he found at the bar a Swiss chap who he just got talking to, and he poured out his heart to this chap over a glass of whiskey, and he said, "Take me to him right away. I think I know what the problem is." And so they got a taxi, went straight off to the hospital, and he took one look at me and said, "Yep, he has got what is known as a hole in the heart."
Oh, no.
Atrial septal defect, it's called in the technical term, which means that there's a tiny little hole in your heart that normally closes, in fact, always closes, to stop fatality, when you're born. And it just means that you can start breathing normally through your lungs. But if that little hole doesn't close, you're in big trouble, basically. And if the oxygen-heavy blood from one atrium of your heart starts pumping through that little hole, it causes what they call cyanosis, which causes your skin to turn blue. And you usually have about 48 hours to live. Oh, now, the wonderful thing about this place in Ibadan is that it had an airport. And this fantastic guy sent a wire to his friend in London, who was actually the Queen's paediatrician. And it was in the middle of the night for him, got him out of bed, and he said, "Get him over here as fast as you can." And so they flew me to Lagos, and from Lagos we flew to what was then Croydon Airport, which is now Gatwick. And there were ambulances on the runway, and I was taken to that wonderful, wonderful place, the finest hospital in the world, Great Ormond Street. Mm. And they did this very, very new, groundbreaking operation called a catheter procedure, where they put a tiny little line up through your groin, and it goes up through the vein, and it has a little umbrella on the end of it. And then they just pull it out once it's gone through the hole, and it closes up the hole. Now, this was 1958. It was a long time ago. And this was absolutely groundbreaking stuff. Before that, it would have been open heart surgery and the chances of living very, very outside, really, for a little baby. But I am now rejoicing in the fact that I'm the oldest living survivor of the catheter procedure in the world.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. Congratulations.
Every time I see people collecting for Great Ormond Street, I must tell them the story.
Isn't it typical, though? I do believe it's fate. I mean, if your father hadn't have met that guy in the bar, who knows what would have happened?
There were 2 hotels. So you could have gone to the other hotel quite easily.
Yeah, quite easily. Well, you did survive that. You grew up, and at some point you went into the Hong Kong police.
Yes, well, via Singapore. My dad went back into the forces, and we were posted to Singapore for 4 years, where I narrowly avoided killing myself on many occasions with large spiders and sharks and goodness knows what else. And then, yes, I did a little bit of teaching after I left school, and I applied for a job with the Hong Kong police, and I couldn't believe it because I'm not a very big guy, and I did actually get the job. So I was sent out on my 20th birthday, and in 1977, and I was commissioned as an inspector of police in Hong Kong, and I learned to speak Cantonese and all the things that you do in Hong Kong, and gin and tonics for 25 pence. it was, and you could play cricket and all of that. It was a great place. It was the last colonial outpost, really, of Hong Kong after Singapore, and I had a brilliant time there. But I was hankering after something else. There was something nagging in the back of my head, and then it was saying, "You want to do music?" And I said, "I do. I really want to do music." And after a bit, I auditioned for a choir, and they were looking for a singer for the Christmas time for Messiah. And I turned up, and they heard me sing, and they said, "Oh, you're quite good, actually. Would you like to play the part of Jesus Christ in our Easter program of the St. Matthew Passion?" And I said, "Oh, I'd love to. Fantastic." So the Hong Kong Philharmonic Orchestra. And I said, so on Easter Sunday, I stood up in the great sort of Dai Wui Tong, which is their sort of concert, huge, like the Royal Festival Hall in London, and I sang the part of Jesus. And of course, I had a very short haircut, being a new policeman. And this was in the 70s when most people had their hair quite long. And there was a chap in the audience who looked at the program and realized that I was actually a serving officer in the Hong Kong police. I was then called into his office on Monday, and he said, "I've just had your law exams back, and you clearly haven't opened a manual for several months." And he said, "I was interested to see your very fine performance of Jesus Christ yesterday." This was Easter Sunday. And he said, "Well, you've got to do the exam again, so either we back squad you, but given that you seem to have some talent for singing, would you like an honourable discharge, and we'll get you back to England, and I suggest you go and get your voice trained." So let's do that. Let's do that.
Well, that was very decent of them, wasn't it?
I thought it was extremely decent. They gave me a nice sort of gratuity and a discharge and an open air ticket back to London. So.
Yeah. And then you studied at Trinity College?
Yeah, well, I got back to England, and can you imagine coming back to England and telling the MCC that you're available to play cricket against the West Indies? It was like that because I turned up at the Royal Opera House, Covent Garden, and said, "Here I am, I'm available." And they said, "Okay, which opera house have you been singing with?" I said, No, I've just come back from the Hong Kong police." Have you had any voice training? I said, "Not really. I sang in the choir at school." But he said, "This is like the top opera house in the world. We suggest that perhaps you're a little young for this, and you ought to get your voice trained." And to this effect, the senior coach at the Royal Opera House gave me some free coaching lessons. And he put me in touch with a very nice lady who was the head of the singing faculty at Trinity College of Music. And, I didn't have a grade 1 triangle. I didn't have any musical qualifications whatsoever. But I did play the violin pretty badly. I still do. And I turned up and I sang my songs and I played the violin. And, she got me in.
It sounds like throughout your life, Graham, you've been at the right place at the right time.
I think there's somebody up there looking after me, actually.
That's wonderful. Well, I know since then you've toured the world, and the book is obviously much, much, much more in the book, which is called Can't Hear Yourself Think, Autobiography of a Serial Name Dropper. It's by Graham Dolby, who we're chatting to now, and it's out now, came out at the end of July. Graham, it's been delightful chatting to you. Thanks for joining us today.
It's been a great pleasure.
You take care. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
TRE At OliveNet, we have our own fibre optic network with speeds of up to 1 gigabyte. A standard package fixed monthly quota includes modem rental, a pause service of up to 9 months a year, and a VoIP phone line on demand. OliveNet offer installation discounts and flexible contract conditions. OliveNet.es.
China Home, the one-stop destination for everything for your home and garden with ample parking. Our 3,000 square metre store is full of stock, from kitchenware, curtains and cushions, indoor and outdoor furniture, fashion and so much more. Enjoy your home inside and out with a 10% discount off your next purchase at China Home, A7 Kilometre 166, Calle Seneca No. 2, Urbanisation Costalita, or at Centro Comercial Arroyo en Medio, Estepona. China Home, we are looking out for you.
Talk Radio Europe, The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selena Mackenzie.
And here is a bit of Graham Dolby and the London Swing Orchestra.
Sing, 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 sing. Everybody starts to sing. Hi-de-hi, ho, ho. Now she's singing with a swing. Sing, 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 sing. Everybody starts to sing. Hi-de-hi, ho, ho. Now she's singing with a swing. When the music goes around, everybody goes to town. Here's one thing you ought to know. Ho, ho, baby, ho, ho, ho. Sing, 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 sing. Everybody starts to sing. Everybody starts to sing. So now she's singing with a swing. Hi-hi.
Graham Dolby and the London Swing Orchestra. Sing, 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 that was called. Now, sadly, we didn't have any time on Thursday because I was away for the medical show, Thursday's medical show, but we are here this Thursday with an interview in the morning.